Have you got any conversation? Chat.
I have. It's not fantastic, but I've got a thing.
Go on. Topic for debate.
It is still dark side, but it's not like before.
I like the dark side.
Today I was reading about, I think it was only this morning, that the news announcement about somebody famous I'm not going to mention, who I've sort of known through the years and seen on TV and all this stuff, and I've enjoyed their output. Not always agree with their opinions and things and all that. It's quite interesting. I'm not going to say who it is because they've been done for a crime. Well, they haven't been done for a crime. They've been charged with a crime and they've got to do the doobry and they've had bail. It's not that crime, but still.
Wow.
It really strikes me how they just report, oh yeah, he's been done for this. And he hasn't been found guilty yet.
Well, that's against reporting rules, isn't it?
Well, they always do it, don't they? I don't know why. Maybe until the actual thing starts, they can report on it. It's only when the thing starts that they can't. But then actually, no, they do, don't they? The case continues. Is a thing, isn't it? They just tell you all about it.
I always thought he was a bit of a...
Yeah?
What was it? A greasy 60s con man?
I'm a greasy 60s con man.
Was it greasy?
That's what we're talking about, yeah. But
was that? Yeah, that's what they actually said. I couldn't remember if it was actually greasy 60s con man.
Yeah, and well, he did a bad thing. Not that bad thing, but he did do a bad thing, maybe, or didn't do a bad thing. It's really alarming. Before they've been found guilty, it's really bad.
Yeah, well, that's what Tommy Robinson got sent to prison for, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the big one was Cliff Richard, who I have named. What a shame! But he was found not guilty. So whatever, he was found not guilty. In the case of Cliff Richard, though, I mean, I've always had a conspiracy theory about Cliff Richard. We know he was associated with really dodgy people.
Really?
Yeah, and he was found not guilty, so he's not guilty. That's it. And they shouldn't have done that. You know, that was really bad. But Cliff Richard is protected by them.
Well, he loves tennis, doesn't he? I got myself crying, walking, sleeping, talking.
But he's always had a bit of a dodgy association. That's the line. Fies my soul is the
satisfies my soul.
Fies my soul. He's well dodgy and he's protected by establishment.
I don't understand why he's well dodgy. What's he well dodgy for then, Kev?
He's associated with, well, these allegations came about from his associations when he was with dodgy religious people.
Oh, he's a fundamentalist Christian, isn't he?
Yes, fundamentalist. Nothing
wrong
with that in itself.
Born again.
But also very establishment, defending those in power, etc. Like someone else we all know. It was only found out after they died, and it was really obvious. That kind of thing. Doesn't mean we don't know if he's guilty or not. What I'm saying is, it makes no difference. He's protected.
Yeah. So I know the story you're referring to, but I haven't really read up on it. I'm seriously trying to get myself into a news detox because it's so.
Which story are we talking about? The new one.
The greasy 60s con man.
There isn't one. It was literally like that much.
Oh, was it?
So I don't think anyone's got any information. Basically, it was new. Yeah. But yeah, that should not be reported on until something is found true. You know.
Is that true though? Is that what always happens?
Well, the Cliff Richard example, regardless of whether he's protected by them, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, and to all intents and purposes, he was innocent. As far as we know, he is innocent, and they did that. And now there's always doubt. Always.
Don't it pee you off? It was the BBC, wasn't it, that flew the helicopters in?
So was it well? Surely the police behaved much worse than the BBC. The BBC are being journalists and reporting on it.
No, this is the point though. Okay, now we're getting to tinfoil hat territory. Where's your tinfoil hat, Kev? The BBC journalists aren't journalists. They don't do any journalism.
No.
They just regurgitate what people have said. You know, when has a BBC journalist, ever actually uncovered a story?
analysis. No, they're not meant to. Well, it would be an explosion of how dare they? They're not part of our little club, etc.
Well, I just find it utterly bizarre that they're reporters. Yeah, a reporter, I think, is a more accurate name for what they are. They report the news. They regurgitate the news on telly.
Yeah.
There's no sort of Woodward and Bernstein going on at the BBC. It's just sort of like, oh, this person said this to this person. How shocking! It's great, it's great for the age, but it does nothing for the level of debate, which is why I need a news detox, Kev.
Yeah, it's just awful, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, well, the BBC isn't able to exist as a news outlet. They have to do that, otherwise they'd be flattened.
Well, it's all domineering on the news outlet, though, isn't it? I mean, it's the BBC News is the news sort of thing. I mean, we talk about the power of the papers and all that, and we talk about the power of the papers because of the way they basically control the news output of the BBC.
Yeah,
because the BBC just parrot what's on the front pages of the right wing dailies, basically. I mean, I haven't looked at it today.
Or the Mirror.
I haven't watched the news today, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be wall to wall about Dennis Healey being a Soviet spy.
Is that a thing? Oh my God!
So
Dennis Healey.
He sued the Times at the beginning of the 90s for making the accusation that he was a Soviet spy, and now that he's dead,
it turns out he is.
they're regurgitating it.
Oh, the regurgitating. Okay, right.
They're saying, oh, there's evidence now that he was a spy. When Andrew Neil comes out and says, well, we need a bit more corroboration on this because, number one, Dennis Healey didn't like the Soviet Union. He hated the Soviet Union and he hated communism. Number two, he didn't like money much. So it's sort of like, well, what are you saying? He was paid by Russia. Well, I mean, it's
another Russia story.
Yeah.
I haven't quite put the jigsaw together with the Russia thing because there's lots of different Russia stories with conflicting ideas that don't quite add up. I don't quite get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something. I love a bloody Cold War spy story, Kev. John le Carre, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Smiley's People, all that sort of thing. I bloody love it.
Yeah.
And there's something appealing to that. There's also the big bad bogeyman type thing. We need a bogeyman to report on, and it's a useful foil, isn't it, for a story? Russia involved. There must be something sinister here.
And maybe they're bringing it back. I mean, we know there was a proper McCarthyite thing in the BBC. It turns out with anyone who was suspected of communism. And of course, the McCarthyite thing means not suspected of communism, because suspected of not being an authoritarian nut bar. They drew a little Christmas tree on their folder. And on the BBC, that meant blacklisted, keep them off prime time or whatever, because they're communists, although they're obviously not.
So yeah, I mean, the Russia thing it's also the sort of the linking between the traditional left of the Labour Party and the Soviet era. Yeah, they're trying to regurgitate that.
Is that what it is?
I think that's a big part of it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Vladimir Putin is a complete arse bucket. Yeah,
very bad man.
He's a very, very bad man,
but also probably very clever. Possibly,
well,
not sure.
He's much cleverer than anything we've got.
Yes,
he's running circles around our lot.
Yeah, it does appear that's what's happening. Yeah. Maybe that's what's happening.
I mean, I don't. The sort of the obsession of the press and the government or the MPs with Russia doesn't do themselves any favours, because it just highlights just how inept they are.
I mean, you could look at it as the media thing of is the Islamist terrorists bogeyman becoming part of the furniture. It doesn't have its effect it used to have, so they need something else.
Yeah, it could be,
but it's not. Well, I'm not. It's not like frightening. Oh crap! They're going to come and get us. It's not. It's not like that, is it?
No.
It's more to all than that. So I don't understand.
Perverting democracy. It is also amazing how there's a sort of the link between America and the UK. So the suggestion that Hillary Clinton lost the presidential election because of Russian interference. Therefore, we think, we've got to have a bit of that. Yeah, they're interfering with us as well. Bad people.
Yeah, we're not incompetent. It's because Russia, their fault.
Yeah.
We're not just useless. Don't know what we're doing. Made no plans for anything.